So a nun, a duck, and a priest walk into a bar.
Okay.
And the bartender is like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? Some kind of joke? Welcome to the Elusive History Podcast.
You found us.
We are a hard-to-find history podcast, harder to find than declassified UFO footage. I'm your host, weapon of grass destruction and landscaping enthusiast, Levi Van Lyndsay.
And I'm your other host, extraterrestrial tour guide and the quilty party, Lyndsay Burnett.
At the top of the show, we like to ray gun our audience with a quick existential warning. And that part is happening to you right now.
Pew pew!
Look, some of the stuff we cover isn't super good for your mental health. So, if you need to take a break and go touch grass, listen, we get it. Some of this stuff can be pretty rough.
Indeed.
So for the last few weeks, we've been doing a little Nevada history.
That's true.
From railroad races to the prospectors that made this place a state. Mm-hmm. We would feel like giant pieces of shit if we didn't cover this part of Nevada history.
The giant white elephant in the Nevada room, if you will.
Right. Since besides gambling and prostitution, it's what our state is best known for. This state is known for the crazy-ass shit that happens in the middle of the desert. Mm-hmm. From A-bombs to aliens, and that doesn't even cover the A's. This place is where the U.S. government comes to test their most secret and possibly most destructive weapons. I have a personal stake in today's episode since both of my parents worked at the test site when I was a child. My father took apart nuclear weapons for the U.S. government, and my mother worked on the hospitality side, cleaning the barracks and living quarters.
That's a pretty wide difference of jobs there. Just gotta stop.
They had very different experiences.
Obviously. Yeah. Taking apart bombs and making beds or clean out trash or toilets. Worlds of difference.
Worlds of different, but they both still needed security clearances, top secret security clearances to even work there.
Okay, I could see that. Your father's, no duh. But your mom's, because if you're cleaning up trash or you're around people that might be talking about stuff.
Or you have to drive through the area where they're testing all of the things.
Oh, God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that area drive is insane. For all you listeners out there, Levi was born in the state of Nevada.
That's right.
And he took me to Tonopah, where he lived with his family for a while. The test site has a road that veers off from the main highway.
Oh, you're talking about over by Mercury.
I didn't remember the name of the place, but yeah. So you're just driving along this flat, straight road, and then all of a sudden there's a whoop off to one side, right? Uh-huh. And we happened to drive past it at shift change because there were insane amount of cars going in and out of the place.
Driving way too fast, which is what they do.
But it was surreal because there's a whole bunch of cars driving to Tonopah, right? Mm-hmm. Cars behind us driving off to the test site. But once we got past the test site, deserted roads.
It's back to empty roads, yeah.
Ghost town. And I was like, what the hell was that? And he was like, that's the test site.
Yeah, there's like a secret city out there. There's everything you could possibly want out there. There's
secret, not so secret, but yeah.
Well, some of it's classified. Some of it you can't even look at on Google Maps, but some of it's not declassified. It's not classified at all. Like, when I was in 8th grade, I went to a field trip out at the test site to go look at the Yucca Mountain nuclear waste site disposal site.
I've also been told that once a year you can go out there with special certifications or tickets or something like that.
But they don't take you over by the Groom Lake side.
No.
Yeah.
But you can go with passes onto the test site.
Sometimes.
Some parts.
They've limited those a lot more now in the present. But yeah, that used to be a thing. Yeah. So both of my parents worked there, but and they couldn't talk about what they did when they got home, but they both had to wear radiation badges to work.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but admittedly, my dad's was a lot different than my mom's.
So, like the radiation badges that you have to wear when you work as a X-ray tech?
Well, that's kind of what my mom's looked like. My dad's was a little different. So it was blocky. It had some sort of electronics in it that you couldn't see, like the window or anything. You had to crack it open to read the dosimeter that was inside of it to let you know. But it would beep when you got... Like, if my dad stood too close to the microwave, it would beep.
Oh.
Yeah, so it...
That's interesting.
Well, there's radiation from the microwave.
No, I get that, yeah.
It's not the same kind of gamma or the kind of destructive radiation. It is, I mean, if you were inside the microwave. Anyway, I'm going off on a long tangent. The only thing I'm trying to say is we all had to wear radiation badges for this 1 week that my dad came home and might have contaminated us.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's a horrifically unique childhood story you got there.
Well, yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrap my brain around the idea of what does they quarantine him or?
Well, no. So
they just took his clothes.
They weren't sure how much he got dosed, and this is all. I'm getting this all third and fourth hand.
Oh.
Because I personally didn't wear the radiation badge. It was put in my room. But it was one of those stories I heard from somebody who worked with him that talked about this very scary time that they thought that my dad might have gotten dosed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
By poor shielding on one of the things he was taking apart.
Oh, well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I got a steady dose of radiation. Oh, and then I went and worked in the Navy, and then I also worked with radiation. So I'm just mildly radioactive to this day.
Don't worry, I'm used to it.
Oh, yeah, it helps get a radio signal. You want to tell the story
That is not even a joke, dude. Seriously, we were in the 100-mile wilderness in Maine. I had hypothermia in June. We were hiking the Appalachian Trail. Ran out of fuel because I didn't know how to use a cook stove.
That's right. Our jet boil went out because she was like, "Oh, we need to boil this constantly."
You know, I'm a special kind of special with certain stuff. I'm smart with stuff and not so much with others. Anyways, so we were trying to get a cell phone signal to get rescued because I had hypothermia and was actively falling asleep.
So my mutant power, my mutant super secret superpower, I guess, is that I'm an antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she kept on trying to, and her phone would just be like, no signal, no signal, no signal.
Does not compute.
And as soon as I get a phone in my hand, I always get full bars.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Well, I mean, I did get bars out there. I got 3 bars.
Yeah, you got enough bars so that you could send a text message so that your sister could contact the National
Forest Service to find us. Also, I sent a GPS ping and an email.
Yeah,
but
guy.
I couldn't keep a phone call going. I don't know what was up with that.
But anyways, all of that because of radiation exposure, possibly, maybe,
yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah, then that's how I wound up with superpowers. But I can tell you this: getting bit by radioactive things doesn't give you superpowers because my little sister was also radiated, and she bit me all the time, and I have not gotten any like annoying little sister powers from that. So. We can go ahead and say that one's been debunked. I'm one of a very few people in this world that knows what it feels like to have your phone bugged.
Knowingly.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Knowingly.
Yeah.
Knows what it feels like to be under constant scrutiny, even as a 6-year-old kid.
Psychologically, that's nuts.
Right. I later found out that the guy who lived across the street, the guy my dad went to work with every day, was there for the specific purpose of putting 2 behind my dad's ear if they found out he was talking to the Russians.
Well, that's even more special.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That guy taught me how to shoot. That's one of the reasons I'm really good at shooting. So I learned how to...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like... I'm not going to give out his identity, but he was a former SEAL team leader. He got paid very good to do security out there. And he was the only person that my dad was pretty much allowed to hang out with anytime without worry of, cross-contaminating, talking to a Russian spy or a Chinese spy.
Like a situational friend?
Pretty much. So he got assigned basically a friend.
Wow.
Yeah. Because before that, my dad.
Before that.
Oh, I'll go into that in the thing. I go into that in the script.
Okay.
My father will probably be under surveillance until the day he dies. And I'm not even sure if he's allowed to travel outside the U.S. right now.
Fascinating.
Yeah. The chances are that I'm also under continued surveillance are pretty good, too.
Yeah, I believe that. Mm-hmm.
The same goes for my 2 sisters. I know for a fact that when I joined the Navy, I was still under surveillance because when I went to go get my own security clearance, the paperwork came back so fast that the people working in the office had never seen a turnaround that fast.
What do you mean, like how fast?
Like, I went to go sit down with the rest of my division, and my paperwork came back.
And that's unusual?
Well, you see, it normally takes weeks to ask all of your teachers and childhood neighbors about you.
Oh!
My paperwork came back in 30 minutes.
Holy shit.
Meaning that I had a current file on file that had all of that information already. And when they saw where I came from, all the people in the office were like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, just a little bit of sense.
So if you're listening to this podcast right now, consider yourself very lucky that they are letting you listen to it at all.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, I'm not going to start off by saying that I saw aliens or whatever when I was a kid. Instead, I want to start talking about what it was like growing up next to the test site while they were still testing nuclear bombs below ground.
That's alien in and of itself.
Right.
Otherworldly, if you will.
A lot of my teachers were around in the time when they were still doing above ground testing, and they had like fallout marks and like
the pock marks on their faces.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And which is cool because Fallout is now really popular on Amazon. Yeah. I grew up basically training in Nuketown. Like every single day, the air raid siren would go off. I want to start by talking about all of the super secret planes that would break the sound barrier over my elementary school. So often, in fact, that we didn't even flinch at the sonic booms.
Seriously?
Which is also a weird thing. I don't know many people that know what a sonic boom even sounds like.
Yeah, no.
But for me, it was as normal as lunchtime, because that's when they would do it.
So, while you guys are all just sitting down, trying to have a nice, peaceful lunch, they
Cafeteria
just...
pizza.
Boom!
Oh, and all the time, like, boom, 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 boom.
Did the whole room jump?
No, that was the thing, is all these kids from Tonopah were all so used to sonic booms, and it's all hours of the day where they would be doing mock dogfights. That's how close we are to the test site. That's how close Tonopah is to the test site. When they do mock dogfights at the test site, the sonic booms shake our silverware and our dishes.
Speaking of sonic booms, if you guys hear any extra knocking...
sounds that you hear are brought to you by the baby upstairs. Is a proud sponsor, friend of the pod. She's learning, she's growing. It's great.
Angelic little thing, but she likes to throw, so there you go.
Yeah, she's going to be an amazing pitcher. You can just tell by the arm she has.
Or drummer. Either.
Or drummer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. She's very coordinated for her age. So, baby from upstairs, if you're listening, we see you.
Or hear you. But anyways.
Yeah, so I also got used to the sound of air raid sirens announcing that it was noon, because during the Cold War, they had to make sure it worked every day. Because most of the people that lived in Tonopah worked at the test site, and that air raid siren was for them to go either back to the base or to hide underground. So
okay.
I grew up in a very strange place.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was there when they tested and announced the existence of both the stealth bomber and the stealth fighter. The guys from Skunk Works would go and eat at the same restaurant almost every morning. Everyone knew who they were, but not what they were working on.
Oh, wow.
I ate pancakes while guys from DARPA did their best to try not to talk about work off the base.
That's mind-blowing to me.
When I say it was a fucking weird place to grow up, I mean it. I had to do special physicals that even my sisters didn't have to do. I knew what a Geiger counter was. Well, let's just say that. Which is really called a decimeter.
Oh, okay.
It's not called a Geiger counter.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. The people that know call it a decimeter.
Oh.
I remember when the whole town went up to the mountains north of town to watch one of the first 3-stage rockets get launched.
Oh.
And quite a few two-stage rocket launches. Which is funny because we all definitely weren't supposed to have known anything about it.
Oh, so it was a super secret launch, but the whole town was like, hey, let's go watch it.
Well, this was the height of the Cold War, so we were testing intercontinental ballistic missiles like crazy.
Okay.
And I got to see what it looks like when an ICBM takes off from the ground and separates in 3 parts. And everybody, the weird thing is most of the people from Tonopah were up there on Radar Road watching. It kind of felt like everybody was kind of in on the secret. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah. We weren't supposed to know anything about it, and I never thought anything about that was weird. It was the only thing I'd ever known. But then when I moved out of Tonopah to Las Vegas, it became very apparent that the other kids around me hadn't experienced anything even close to what I was used to.
Well, I bet, but what do you mean?
Oh, okay. So, they didn't believe me when I said about the sonic booms or about like them testing the stealth bombers and fighters
like you're full of shit or
they
something.
were like calling me straight up a liar. They were like, "There's no way."
God.
And then when I told them my dad used to take apart nuclear bombs, they were like, "Now we know you're full of shit." And I'm like, "Why though? Like somebody has to do it."
Yeah.
My dad was the one that did it.
Right.
Like, I just
not you.
Yeah.
You just you can't have that story.
What? I mean, I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's also just what I grew up with, which is kind of like othered me my whole life. Because anytime I try to tell people where I'm from or you know what my parents used to do, I always get the same look from them, which has kept me from having a lot of friends because they think I'm trying to tell some sort of, I don't know, Marvel-esque story.
Or a grandiose lie.
Right, but the funny thing is I got dosed with radiation on a daily basis when I was a child.
And I'm sorry, but the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction.
Right.
Like,
and that's why those secrets still get kept out at the test site.
Because people's minds go, no,
there's no way.
Yeah.
And they have a long history of doing that. The Nevada test site was established on December 18th, 1950.
Oh.
President Harry Truman authorized a 680 square mile section of the Nellis Air Force gunnery and bombing range.
That's a big area.
Yes. Also, my stepfather worked out there.
Oh, that's right.
At the test site. He did video technical engineer stuff. Yeah. Only a year later, on December 27th, 1951, they tested their first nuke called Shot Able, a 1 kiloton bomb as part of Operation Ranger.
Okay.
Between 1951 and 1992, the U.S. government conducted a total of 928 nuclear tests here.
In almost 40 years? Holy shit, that's a lot of bombs.
Out of these tests, 100 of them were atmospheric, meaning they were detonated on the surface.
Oh, wow.
And 828 were tested underground.
I can't even imagine what that does to our underground surface.
There's ground zero is you still can't walk on it, from what I understand. Like, it's so irradiated, it's like... Ugh.
But I mean, the explosions underground have to affect the tectonics, the reverberation has to do something to our Earth. Like,
well, I know
that many bombs.
I know it killed my Oscar. His name was Oscar. And they did a below ground test in it. So it's a lot like, because I still remember quite a few below ground tests when I was a child. It felt like an earthquake. And it scared the hell out of the fish, and he jumped out in the middle of the night and died. Because they did a lot of the below ground testing at night or like in the wee hours of the morning.
Because that makes sense for sleep and whatnot.
Really does. The last atmospheric test was Little Feller 1 of Operation Sunbeam, which occurred on July 17th, 1962.
Okay.
And the last test was in 1992.
That's a big differentiation. So they still continued underground for the next 30 years.
Well, I was around for most of this time. They were doing quantum leaps in technology when it came to nuclear armament during this time. Like, the bombs that they tested or even dropped on Hiroshima are like firecrackers compared to the ones they were testing out at the test site. And we're not talking about just like your normal nukes. We're talking about hydrogen bombs. Like the whole gamut. Like, I don't even know if gamma bombs exist, but if they did,
they probably
tested them.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't write this in the script, but during this time in the 1960s and 1950s, people were fucking obsessed out of their minds with the atomic testing that was going on
right
here. There were atomic cafes. The atomic beehive was the regional hairstyle of the time. And if just Google that real quick. So the atomic beehive shown here.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, that was the style of the day. My grandmother, actually, Joyce, used to wear an atomic beehive.
Oh, I could see her with one. Yeah.
Yeah, just to like bring it back a little bit. But people would actually go out and watch these tests, and it wasn't until like a few years later that they figured out most of these people were getting like a lethal dose of radiation.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
how much later did they find out?
A couple of years later.
Okay.
Because people see, when nuclear testing was going on during the 50s and the early 60s, they knew radiation was lethal, but they didn't know how far the blast radius was. That's why the thumb in Fallout, that they say if you can cover it with your thumb, go ahead and run.
Yeah.
If you can't, just try to get, I don't know, comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, because within that blast radius, if you can cover if you can cover it with your thumb, you're outside the radiological blast radius. Well, you're going to be. The fallout's going to continue after the blast wave. And that's when the real radiation wave happens. And that's where all the nasty stuff happens. But all testing was suspended after a moratorium and a subsequent test ban treaty. Nukes were not the only thing they tested out there.
Okay.
All of the top secret weapons programs from 1951 to the current date are brought here first. My grandpa used to say, of course they want you talking about aliens, because when you do, you aren't talking about the melt-your-face rays or whatever they really have out there.
Your grandpa sounded like a really smart man.
Which, to be fair, he's not wrong. Over the years, the government has been more than happy to let people speculate about aliens. Let people come up with whatever story they need to feel the magic or whatever.
Makes sense.
As long as they keep looking at the skies, far away from where all the actual testing is done.
So, like, don't look up, but hey, look over there?
Yeah. My dad got extremely lucky. He was a paratrooper back in Vietnam and left with a dishonorable discharge. So I don't know if you know what that means. It means he can't do anything. Like,
right.
Government-wise.
It's not honorable.
Right. So when he got back to the States after doing biker shit, he got a job working at a silver mine because he was comfortable around explosives.
And Nevada.
Right. Being a boomer, he happened to be in the right place at the right time when a recruiter for the test site showed up looking for a demo expert to help clear part of the test site.
While he was working in the silver
That's
mine.
right.
Oh.
So when he got the job, he also got his secret security clearance, which wiped off his dishonorable discharge.
Oh, okay.
After which, they sent him to Los Alamos Labs for training and education.
That's in New Mexico,
That's
right?
right.
Okay.
When my mother and he got divorced, he lost his security clearance, and that was back in 1987. After that, he went on to construction work here in Las Vegas.
That's why you moved to Vegas with him.
And then went on to doing union stuff until he retired.
Yeah.
And then moved out of state. When we left the secret community, we fell out of the loop super quick. It's a very suspicious community. And once you lose your clearance, they stop trusting you.
Well, you did say secret community.
Right. Because in that community, if you weren't solidly on their team, there is a chance you could be on the other side. And during the Cold War, the paranoia in that town was insane.
I can't even imagine.
Right. It's kind of like a form of ostracization, but like professional ostracism. Overnight, the people that used to babysit me, one of them was a physicist that taught me about gardening, stopped all contact with my father and I.
Oh, wow. So like shunning almost.
Yeah.
Professional shunning.
Right. We moved to Las Vegas shortly after my parents got divorced, and both of them lost their clearances.
Okay.
My mother got her beauty license and once competed in a national nail art competition where she took third place for a miniature beach scene that she did across all 5 nails.
Oh, that's really cool.
My father got into construction. First, he got into building stuff. Part of the business, and then he got into the union part of the business, where like you being a union delegate in Las Vegas.
Okay, so he was like a middleman. He wasn't the one swinging the hammer. He was the one telling him where to swing.
In the end, yeah. In the end, it was just all mob lunches and lobsters.
Hey,
Oh, wait. No, but really. Bruno, if you're listening, thank you for the lobsters. So, he did that until the VA gave him a disability rating of 100% because of all the Vietnam stuff.
Oh, yeah. Agent Orange and whatnot.
Right. And he retired and moved out of Nevada. Once we did that, like, everybody we had talked to, like, even the guy that lived across the street, as soon as we left the state of Nevada, we never talked to those people again.
Oh, wow.
They could have been, like, teleported to another place, because I have never seen these people again. And I've been back to Tonopah.
Okay, I'm sorry. This reminds me, like, of cult behavior, but it's like government cult?
Yeah, it really kind of is.
Super secret compound in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Surrounded by secrecy, where once you're in the group, yeah, you can talk about it. But once you're out of the group, you are out of the group. You don't exist. The community shuts the doors and locks it behind you. And so long, thanks for the memories, folks.
Right. And then they do their best to discredit you if you tell or talk about the things that you heard or seen.
Hey, untrustworthy. Got me coffee once. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that guy. Now, on to the subject that probably brought you to this episode. Let's talk about aliens.
Yes.
Finally, right?
The UFOs and whatnot.
Well, now hold on.
Okay.
If you think I'm going to talk about flying saucers and little green men, I'm sorry. Try to manage your
Oh, man.
try to manage your expectations better next time.
No.
Now, let me just say, right off the top, aliens or life originating from somewhere else other than our planet absolutely exists. Not only do they exist, we have cataloged them for years now. Extrasolar organisms have been hitching rides on space rocks since the Big Bang, or afterwards anyway, after everything had a chance to cool off and form planets and comets or whatever.
That thing.
These microorganisms are a lot like the ones we already have on this big old blue marble. The only difference is they seem to be masters of surviving in hostile conditions that go well beyond what we thought the living could tolerate.
You mean like oxygen and cold and all that
super
stuff?
cold, super hot of space. Because space isn't just super cold; it's also super hot, full of radiation.
It just depends on where you are. Location.
Right. Now, all of this is pretty new, and they're still running tests, but we are learning a lot about the universe and how it works because of these little guys. And to be honest, it's a cool time to be alive.
Heck yeah.
Oh my fuck.
What?
I just realized we haven't let anybody in to change all the batteries on all the bugs in our house.
Oh, is it that time of week already?
Yeah, so we're going to need to take a quick break and let the government ninjas come in and take care of all of that. We'll be right back. And we're back.
Hello!
The batteries have been changed, and it seems they use some sort of deodorizing spray. It's very fresh and very clean. Thank you, ninjas. Now that we've covered the fact that aliens do exist, let's talk about the lights in the skies, UFOs, or more specifically, UAPs.
Yes.
UAP is the new accepted form for UFOs. That's the new term.
Okay.
We went from calling them unidentified flying objects to unidentified aerial phenomena.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm proud of us for finally doing it.
Because it encapsulates more than just an object flying.
Sometimes the things we see in the sky aren't objects at all.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a flock of birds covered in marine bioluminescence, St. Elmo's fire, or the often used swamp gas.
Right.
Which can and does glow with a strange and almost ghostly radiance. The point is, the new term gives it a greater ability for identification. The word object versus term phenomena allows for more things to fall under the view of UAPs, which has helped us to understand that some of these things are naturally occurring. If not rarely, it's still normal.
So a UAP also could be something quantified along the lines of like the rare lightning.
Right, ball lightning.
Exactly.
That would absolutely be an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Right, which is definitely different than, say, an airplane or something flying of object, I don't even know the word, not permanence, but right?
Like a physical thing.
Versus,
object.
I don't know, plasma going through the sky.
Or a massive, I don't know, herd. No, it'd be swarm of lightning bugs,
Yes.
Like, I don't know, like that would be a phenomena. It absolutely happens, and it's normal, but it's rare, but it's normal.
And it could be unidentified, depending on, how it pings on
radar.
Exactly.
Yeah, whether or not they get a pilot to go up and look at it, and they're like, oh yeah, no, this bird got into a glow stick factory. It's probably going to have cancer and die, but that's what you're seeing. So it's just a goose up there. It's blind. It's like hank. It's flying in a circle. It can't see. It's going to be dead in hours. Just don't worry about it.
Or that person out there recording with a Nokia flip phone who're like, I swear to God, it's an alien.
Oh my God.
It's bouncy all over the place. And like, no, dude, it's the moon. But look, watch!
Moon. It's so big. On any given day, nearly 1,800 weather balloons are launched each day around the world.
That's a lot.
92 of those are launched in the good old US of A.
Okay.
Each flight lasts around 2 hours, and they can reach the altitude of over 100,000 feet. And they can drift over 125 miles while gathering information.
Weather information.
Right. Well, sometimes they use them for spy activities.
Well,
The whole point is there's a bunch of damn balloons up in the sky. There's a whole bunch of them. When you call in and like the 911 operator is like, hey, no, we have reports it's a weather balloon. And they're like, no goddamn weather balloon looks like that. No, they do. They look like that.
Or that one not CIA agent, that one 007 agent that needs to get up to the satellite to save it.
Oh, that's Kingsman.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. But, these are Mylar balloons, so they look like metal, which is the other reason they look like
saucers.
saucers.
Okay, see, that's a big, important bit of information that needs to be talked about.
Right, and there's so many of them. Listen, there are so many. If you go outside and look right now, and the sun's up, look around the sky for something reflective. Chances are, statistically, you might be able to see one.
That's funny.
And if you do start looking up at the sky more often, you will see them. I've seen them over Las Vegas so many times because the National Weather Service launches them in Death Valley.
I caught some things like that on video, but it was a white one. It wasn't Mylar.
Well, they do have the white ones too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all Mylar. Mylar's was preferred because you can get to higher altitude with the reflective Mylar than you can with the white.
The only reason I saw it was because it had popped and it was falling from the sky.
Right, which we're going to talk about right now.
Oh, cool.
When they get to their prescribed altitude, or if they get too high, they burst, and the equipment falls to the ground where it's collected.
That's exactly what happened. Well,
yeah,
I don't know if it was collected. I just watched it fall for 5 minutes.
I say hopefully because they don't always find them when they come back down, and sometimes they can lose telemetry on the balloons, and they never see them again.
Like they land in the ocean or just shatter in the middle of the desert?
Like if a bird hits it and they lose the GPS telemetry or it just gets shaken or too cold, they can lose signal on it. And so they just never see them again.
Okay.
On each weather balloon is a thing called a radiosonde, which is the main component. And each one of these has a parachute to bring it down to the ground safely.
Okay.
Each year, the National Weather Service gets around 15,000 of these radiosondes returned. That's out of the 75,000 that they put up.
Oh my god. Oh my god, they don't even get a third back. Okay.
Side note, it's because of these radiosondes that we know about the spiders that travel all the way up into the upper atmosphere.
Oh.
Which also makes them technically UAPs as well.
Oh, you mean the ones that are flying into New York right now? Those are all UAPs?
Well, yes, technically spiders parachuting are phenomena. Listen, so...
And a nightmare.
So there's a speculation that up in the upper ionosphere, there's an entire layer made out of spiders.
The fuck?
Right. It's like a gossamer that goes around so when baby spiders are born, they let out this little parachute thread, right, of silk that picks them up and carries them. Now, if they are born in a hot area, those updrafts can carry one of these baby spiders aloft.
No, the fuck, Annie M. There's no place like home. What the fuck is this?
Right. Well, so there's a nightmare layer of the atmosphere that if you take a hot air balloon up, you might wind up catching some spiders.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
It's a sound medium. Yet again, my mouth is just agape, and I don't like this.
So now, mix all of the spiders and weather balloons and, I don't know, radioactive birds or whatever into a ball.
Okay.
Now let's squeeze that ball down into a tiny little marble, and let's set that aside.
Oh, yes, let's please do.
And now let's talk about everything else.
Yeah.
Flying saucers or whatever.
Yeah.
After we eliminate civilian drones, military drones, civilian aircraft, and then military aircraft, what's left in the sky is what I want to talk about.
That's a lot of variance.
Right.
Okay.
Most of the time, UAPs can quickly be explained after observing them. Or, at the very least, their origins can be figured out by watching them for a minute.
Okay.
Now, I want you to ball all of these up with the other explainable UAPs and put them all together. Now let's talk about what's left.
Okay, what's left?
Recently, footage has been declassified of some of these unidentified phenomena. These are what I want to talk about now.
Finally.
Some of them move at speeds that would liquefy a human body had they been on board.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling to me.
Some of them disappear into the sea, which also isn't a thing that humans are capable of doing.
Right.
Well, not yet at least anyway. So for these very rare UAPs, I gotta go with aliens.
Yeah.
But any of these crafts that actually move at speeds that humans could manage to survive, because of where I grew up, I just assume that they are yet to be declassified military projects.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anything a human could survive, I would consider that a human could be piloting that.
It does move to logic because a lot of the UAP sightings are on the West Coast. Not all of them, but a very large number of them.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that some of them are projects made by other countries.
Okay.
Like the Iran's buzz drones that they recently used in an attack. Those, if people saw those, civilians saw those, they would absolutely call those a UAP.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm just going to say some of these other crafts that from this footage that has been declassified, some of them could be crafts from other countries or our own that we're working on that haven't been declassified yet.
Okay.
Now let's talk about what's left. Interstellar objects like the Oumuamua.
Oh, Mau. Yeah, the rock that came from out of our universe.
Right. That was the very first interstellar object that we've ever experienced as humans.
And that was just what, a couple years ago, basically.
Right. 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Oumuamua means a messenger from afar arriving first in Hawaiian. It was named such by its discoverers, the first interstellar object to visit our solar system. Which it came in, and it did a circle, which was
around
weird.
our sun, right?
Right, but then it accelerated off. So it used the sun to slingshot itself.
Right.
Like back in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, it used the sun as a slingshot and just left our solar system.
Which is what made scientists think that it was not a rock, but was a ship instead.
Right. Yeah, they were thinking that this has to have been something that was steered by other people because it was able to avoid, well, the asteroid belt. It made it through the asteroid belt between us and Mars.
Didn't it also like change trajectory?
That's another
which
thing. Yeah.
Rocks don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that much like remote viewing, it turns out that when you eliminate all of the other possibilities, what you're left with is the truth.
Like with everything else in life.
The truth is that UAPs exist, aliens exist, and shadowy government weapons testing also exists.
Absolutely.
I don't know if these intergalactic travelers are aliens, or if they're visiting our planet on purpose.
Or if they're from another dimension.
I'm not a doctor.
Nope.
Especially not an alien doctor.
Heck no.
But I do have one theory.
What?
I think that white people are aliens.
I've heard this theory, but I want to hear yours.
Seriously, think about it.
Okay.
We can't go out into the sunlight.
Okay.
It kills us. It kills us, Carl.
My eyes! I'm burning!
Like, we're like the only people on the planet that the sun kills. It doesn't sound it doesn't sound like something that evolved here.
No.
To live, like...
Not
Also,
from around here.
Can't help but notice the overabundance of numbers of colonizers in that race of people also. So...
And colonizer is a way of being.
Right,
yes.
But if they were space aliens and they showed up here to colonize...
Sir?
Well, anyway, but we're also obsessed with foods that can best be described as space food.
Oh my... What?
For example,
Okay.
sour cream,
Okay.
mayonnaise,
Yeah.
yogurt,
Yeah.
hollandaise sauce,
Oh my god.
and the legendary and the ubiquitous ranch dressing.
They're all white and weirdly creamy.
You could eat all of these things out of a pouch.
Yeah.
Like a space pouch. These are all space
oh my
food.
God.
So I like to think of, like, it was a race of lazy, like, bureaucratic space Vikings. And I'm pretty sure it was, like, a kind of exile situation.
So kind of like Wall-E.
Yeah, they're like, let's just crash land these fuckers on Earth. And just let them be, man. But aren't there people already on Earth? Yeah, man, it's fine. They need middle managers. They need people to wear, I don't know, pajama pants or whatever. I don't really know what white people do. I mean, like, I just assume they just, like, have unseasoned food and don't listen to music with rhythm.
Talk a lot but never listen.
Oh my God. That's why they don't have rhythm. Because space. There's no sound in space. That's why white people have
or
no
gravity.
rhythm. Why they can't dance.
Oh.
But I guarantee you put them in zero grav with no rhythm, they can float better than any...
Is that a seizure? I don't know. Let them go.
Let them go. I see, like, the Q-tip thing? I bet that looks great in space. You know what I mean? Like, you know the 80s dance? The little Carlton?
Especially if it's slower.
Right, in space. Imagine.
Way more fluid.
They would do a circle. If you did the Carlton in space in zero gravity, you would do it like a tight circle.
Like a otter underwater.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking more along the lines of that thing at the fair that spins you around.
Now I'm going to be sick.
Right, but that's how white people dance in space.
Oh,
I figured this out. I don't want to die because I know this, but it makes total sense if you think about it.
I'm not a doctor. Not a space doctor.
They need like sleep apnea masks when they get older because of like they're space people.
I'm feeling
like,
called out here.
I'm saying like but just the sun is my evidence. The sun is my greatest evidence because if we evolved here, then there's no reason we should get killed by the sun all the time because the sun is a normal thing, you know. Like
it would explain why we're trying. Why I don't. Why am I lumping myself into this shit?
Because you like mayonnaise.
Colonizer is a way of being. Not. But anyways, no. On top of that, Jesus, we have to terraform and fucking cut lawns and like.
Yeah.
It's nice, but it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. What the fuck? You're ruining the environment and the entire ecosystem. It doesn't matter. My eye needs cleanliness.
That's right.
Straight lines.
Because their home planet was nothing but lawns and like garden gnomes. Those definitely have to be aliens that were on the original
planet.
God. Because what?
Little pixie fountains. That's totally alien.
No, I was talking about the gnomes specifically. I think gnomes are an alien species that space Vikings, like, they held to a high regard. And then when they crashed here, they're like, no, you need a protector gnome for your... That's the only thing that makes sense.
That makes sense,
I'm telling you, white people are like... We're all Roger from American Dad. You think about it.
Just with a whole bunch of wigs.
Okay. and alternate characters. But anyway, my whole point is don't go outside unless you have sunscreen.
Yeah, that one.
Because it's not just white people that get skin cancer. It's because we have no ozone layer and
but also aliens. Focus.
Right. So yeah, like it was weird growing up in Tonopah because I got like all of the mining history. Like we grew up hearing about like Jim Butler and like all of that stuff, but then also we would have to be aware of like radiological like threats.
Well, and also you were there in Tonopah when the Phoenix Lights happened.
That's right.
I happened to live in Arizona when the Phoenix Lights happened, except for I lived in an area that it didn't freaking fly over. So I woke up the next morning to everybody going, hey, there was aliens. Do you know they showed up? So when the Phoenix Lights happened, was there any talk in your town? Because supposedly those lights flew over...
They went over Vegas.
Right.
They didn't go over Tonopah.
They went up that direction,
They went up that direction, yeah.
But then disappeared, so...
Yeah, but they didn't go over. We were expecting to see them. Like, it was all over the news. I mean, it was probably the best... the best coverage of any UFO sighting. I say UFO because that's what they called it back then.
At the time, yeah.
At the time of anything. I mean, there was the Balloon Boy. That one got equal coverage.
That one did get some pretty good coverage. But the fact that the mayor, was it the mayor or the governor of Arizona came out with the person in an alien outfit in handcuffs, that was pretty shameful. Specifically considering here we are, 30 years down the road, and
we're still talking about
the government's like, no, it looks like they may be real, and tune in next week. We'll tell you maybe if you're lucky.
Well, yeah, but also
not us, the government.
Yeah. Everything that's being declassified now, it's probably going to take another 5 or 6 years for that declassified stuff to get like circulated to a point where people understand it well enough to be able to talk about it.
Loading, please wait.
Right. And because most of these people that work on or near the test site, they will not talk. They will never talk.
Well, yeah, secret government cult. We covered that.
Right. So I mean,
it's their job.
It's their job. I mean, I've seen UAPs. I mean, shit, I did radar in the Navy. I've tracked UAPs.
I've watched the International Space Station go over.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have as good of calling cards of
well,
I've seen this as you. But still.
I've seen
a UAP until I figured out what it was.
I've seen air contacts go faster on radar than radar can track, which was weird.
Okay, what? Say that again?
Yeah, so out in the middle of the Pacific. And here's the thing. I'm not sure if this was just the radar going haywire, because that does happen. I was on a ship that was very old.
So glitches happen.
So glitches happen.
Yeah.
But they happened from time to time in the middle of the Pacific where there's no traffic. And I know this because, like, there was like 3 days we didn't even see a ship.
So
on
you're
the radar.
on the middle of the dark in the middle of nowhere.
Right, which, oh my God, if it wasn't for our battle group, like, there was nothing 128 miles around us for 3 days.
And the Pacific is, the area that you're in was basically the back of the head of the globe, right?
Right.
We talked about this?
Yes.
Where that freckle is back there?
Over by Diego Garcia. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I tracked something that was going too fast for a human to be able to survive it.
Oh, damn.
Now, like, we've tracked the SR-71 Blackbird, which is the fastest known flying vehicle right now.
Okay.
And that doesn't move at even a quarter of what we tracked this thing
Oh,
at.
so that's why you said glitch in the beginning.
Glitch in the beginning.
Because it could be.
Could be, or it could be falling space debris. That's another thing.
Oh, okay.
So, like, satellites fall out of the sky all the time.
And that would move fast enough to liquefy a human, definitely.
It definitely would. Well, so here's another thing. The SR-71 Blackbird, I grew up knowing about this, but I also grew up knowing about the Aurora Project. Which I can talk about for hours if you want me to.
It's been declassified?
No, well, it's been declassified, but we still don't know what it looks like. We know that it has scramjet engines that have a very specific signature of, it looks like Cheerios on a string when it goes, and it sounds like a when it goes by. That's the exact noise it sounds like.
How weird.
When it goes overhead, it literally sounds like it's unzipping the sky.
Oh,
when it goes by. It goes by so fast that they think that this thing could go from the Las Vegas test site to London in less than an hour. Like,
and how does that
fast.
not liquefy a human?
Well, because it's unmanned.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're talking the stealth movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the stealth, the talons that the stealth is based on are actually renderings of what people think the Aurora Project looked like.
Okay.
Same thing with Tin Man was another of the renderings of what the
Okay.
Aurora Project is supposed to look like. Also, the scramjets that are in Stealth are the ones that they theorize are what... So, like, if you want to hear about the Aurora Project, just go watch Stealth. Those planes that they use, the sci-fi planes, those are what the Aurora Project is said to have looked like. Like, and...
So close enough for government work. You got the idea.
Now, people often ask me, well, why don't we hear about the Aurora Project anymore? Well, because they mothballed it, because they just figured out that launching a shit ton of spy satellites was so much easier.
Okay.
And you can keep a spy satellite over the country that you want now with vectoring and thrusters. So you don't even have, like, the window that... of like flight window for a spy craft, which also you have to worry about people seeing it, shooting it down, it crashing, which is what happened to the U-2 plane that was flying over Cuba taking pictures of the nuclear warheads that were, I just got an announcement saying good job. The U-2, that, like, there's no bigger nightmare than what happened in the 1960s when a spy plane crashes in a foreign country with film proving that they were spying. So that stayed in a lot of people's minds, and so, like, in the mid 80s, early 90s, they scrapped the Aurora Project for that reason.
Okay.
Well, because it was obsolete. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Now, the SR-71 Blackbird is so fast. It is so fast. And we know how fast it is because all of that shit's been declassified.
Okay.
But I will just say my favorite, because I'm a plane head. You know this.
Yeah, I do.
I love planes. I was a FAA licensed drone operator. Like, flight is one of the parts of my life that I just... It's my autistic obsession.
Well, not to mention the fact that you spent a little bit of time on a ship that
launched planes.
Yeah.
And I knew all the specs of the planes before I showed up because that was my...
obsession.
That was my, what's it called? We have them as neurodivergent people.
My brain is dead right now.
Okay, all right. Anyway, yeah.
Hyperfixation.
That's my hyperfixation, was planes, growing up. The SR-71 Blackbird is so fast that they couldn't put guns on it. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it would run into its own bullets.
Oh my God, that's fast.
How fast it is. It would.
Shit.
No missile on Earth could catch it. No missile on Earth today could catch it.
Wow.
Like, the only thing you have to worry about is the thing shaking apart, which they do.
Oh.
And people having their brains, like, sucked to the back of their skull, which does happen. There are no SR-71 pilots that are healthy today.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because you kind of need your brain to live.
Even taking off in one of those things was said to have been like flying to the moon back and forth 5 times.
Oh, no.
Because of the G-forces. Like, when you go full afterburner on one of these things and you get up to, like, Mach 3, like, you're moving faster than a human should move within atmosphere without some sort of dampening field.
That's horrifying.
But that's the thing that humans are capable of doing. So when I say that UAPs that move faster than an SR-71... I don't think that those are man-made.
Right.
Or I don't think they're manned. Just like the Aurora project, there's no way that a human could fly that.
And there's no such thing as like a shield like on Star Trek that could...
So what you're talking about is a dampening shield or a dampening field, which what it does is it nullifies outside gravity. We are working on technology now, but it doesn't currently exist.
But that doesn't mean... Okay.
And that's aliens. That's why aliens. That's
right.
Why,
that's what I was just going to say. Like, well, I'm not talking about us here.
If a vehicle had a dampening field or a dampening shield, absolutely, you could move around with organic matter inside of it, not worry about it getting sloshed around like a slushy in Nevada, Las Vegas heat while you're taking left turns. You're taking the damn corners too fast. You made me spill my Slurpee on my shoes. Told you. Anyway, the point of the matter is, unless you want to be a slushy, like a human slushy, you couldn't not be in any of these crafts.
Hence the unmanned or alien, yeah.
Right. Now, talking about the radiation that is in northern Nevada, it's actually not that bad of a deal. It's isolated away from where people could or should be. They happen to pick a place where nobody would want to be. Like, to test this. So, like, you wouldn't want to go out there and take pictures. It's very boring.
Nevada is the second most polluted state in the United States for lead, bromium,
I was
radiation.
going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to get to that. Because now we're talking about, like, the Lake Lahontan, and all of the Carson River, and I'm not even sure if it's the Carson River. I think it's the Truckee. Anyway, there's so much mercury from like silver, gold mining,
mercury, lead.
Oh my god,
chromium, barium,
bromium,
sorry,
boron,
radiation.
Are we just gonna start that?
No, but seriously,
carbon?
Carbon's
fine.
I read an article about it the other day on how, like, if you want to stay away from polluted states, like, which one's the most... and, like, the Nevadan one was... The amount of pollutants compared to the other states was astronomical. Like, I don't even remember the number.
Yeah.
But it was a good 10 times more than the lowest state. I'm like, oh my god, they had it in the black as far as, like, no, this is bad.
Well, it's not as bad as somewhere, say, like Idaho, where they don't report.
Right, which is why Idaho was one on the better states, because they don't report the shit that they... Yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Like, the only state that has ever actually had a full-on meltdown, a nuclear meltdown, and we never talk about it.
Yeah.
And that happened in Idaho, which is also why they don't record things, because they're like, hey, look, don't come around here with...
Shh, we don't talk about it.
Hey, you get that fucking dosimeter, and you get it the fuck out of here, okay? We can't have you going around and looking at stuff with a fucking Geiger counter in front of you.
No notes. No notes. No proof. No videos. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Listen, it glows. That's what our stuff does here, okay?
It's special,
it's
okay?
Special. We have glowing mountains. I need to take a break.
Oh?
Yeah, not for any particular reason. I'm just like, meh.
Okay, then.
Welcome back. Now, prepare yourself to be beamed up to the mothership.
Take me to your leader.
Get yourself ready for the anal probe that is... the karmic suggestion box.
Not see that coming.
That's why they go in the back way.
Oh.
Surprise attack. This is the part of the show where we like to ask Karma to fill in the gaps of justice in fun and hopefully hilarious ways.
That one.
Then we like to flip around really quick and do a crazy Ivan.
Whoop, whoop.
Nice. Into good karma, where we like to ask Karma to do something good for someone who is doing something good.
Yeah, that one.
For my karma this week, I would like to ask that Karma reaches out to the person that was listening to my phone calls to all of my crushes in preschool because I was very active on the phone. I was like, "Hey, girl, what you doing? How you doing? What are you watching, a monster movie?" To that person that had to listen to my flawless flirting and solid gold game, Karma, if you're listening, please make it so that whoever that person was has to experience all of my thirsty-ass phone calls that I made after that point. Just so they can see how far I've come.
Oh, they're going to be there a while.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, to all the people who thought it would be a good idea to test above-ground nukes on and around living people with no thought to the downwind consequences to those said people, may they experience It's a Small World playing on a never-ending earworm loop till their last breath on this earth.
That's rough.
I mean, I feel it's fitting.
For my good karma, I would like to reach out to those same people that monitored our phone calls and were able to help my grandmother figure out that we were home alone. You are a good person that is good at math, and I can't thank you enough. And I hope that karma has made your life easy and fun, and if it hasn't, please do so now. Let it be done.
Oh, that's awesome, but good at math. What happened?
Yeah, so a few times in my life, the people who were monitoring our phones have actually helped me personally.
Okay. You can't leave this out. Tell me what.
Okay, so one time we got dropped off by our babysitter at our house, which was empty.
Okay.
Because my mom was at work.
Okay.
So the people who were monitoring our house knew that we were home alone and called our grandmother to come and get us.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of the times. And then another time I was asking my grandmother, again, because I talked to my grandmother on the phone constantly, about a math problem. And that was when somebody clicked in and said, no, the answer's 7, and then clicked out.
Oh, shit.
Like, it happened so fast that me and my grandmother were both like, what the fuck? And also they were right. But, like, I can't explain to you how weird that was.
That is so creepy.
But it also felt kind of like after they called my grandmother to come pick us up at the house, it kind of felt like we had like a guardian angel.
Yeah.
Like that somebody wouldn't let us like burn our house down or whatever because we were under constant surveillance.
Yet again, government cult. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's...
Yeah, so whoever that person
comforting.
was that was listening, that was super good at math and super helpful, you're a superhero, and I hope that you had an easy run. If you didn't, you should now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, for my good karma, to the aliens that brought us microwave, Velcro, and Nicolas Cage,
Hell yes!
may their intergalactic warranty extend to older saucers that have already been paid off.
Oh, thank God.
Making it so that their repairs are free. Psst. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Wouldn't that be a saucer's extended warranty?
About your saucer's extended warranty.
Except they've already paid for it. Like Ice-T has taken care of it with them, with Car Shield or Saucer Shield.
Fine.
They've already had that. But also, yes, I hope that to the beings that brought us Nicolas Cage, please, yes, may they forever have their warranty be in, I don't know, in good standing?
Yes.
Yes.
So let it be.
So let it be done. Yeah, Nicolas Cage has to be an alien. Like, I mean, he's obsessed with dinosaurs and shark teeth.
I got to see him in person once. And
That's right,
yeah,
you
I would
did.
have to definitely say he's not from around here.
He is not from around. Well, no, he specifically is from around here.
He
though.
is.
Oh my God! What if he escaped from the test site?
What if they let him out?
Oh my God! Oh, we totally forgot to talk about how they were going to talk about storming Area 51 back a couple
Did we
years ago.
forget to talk about that?
Yeah, real quick. I just want to mention that at one time a large swath of the population in the U.S. talked about going.
Yeah, 2015, 2016, 2017, somewhere around there.
Around that time. I just want to think about the people that were working at the test site whose job it was to watch the security fences. And even though nobody actually tried, I like to think about the panic attacks that person went through, thinking that every single day, like, a whole bunch of hapless people were going to charge the electrified fences in Rachel, Nevada.
Do you think that it was panic? Or do you think they were like, oh, good, we're finally going to have some entertainment today, boys?
I just assume that when there's electric fences, anytime there's electric fences, that there's like a Jurassic Park thing going on. They're going to test the fences. But, oh my God.
I wanted to see when that happened was like, you remember the scene from Independence Day when they're out there on the Salt Lake, like driving towards okay, that's what I wanted to see, was like a whole bunch of nomadic people like, yeah,
not the guy
we're going to go to Area. Don't ruin my dream.
Okay.
So, like, all driving towards Area 51, but instead of, like, you know, a fence, they just got, you know, like...
Oh, yeah, they cluster bombed the shit out of them. I mean,
that's what I thought was going to happen.
Super secret aircraft out there with weapons.
You were talking about the laser rays or whatever.
Melt your face rays or whatever.
Melt your face rays, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Right.
Instead of the 3 people who showed up at the... wherever.
Well, I mean, you know, they can't give Havana syndrome to everybody.
Only the super special ones.
Only the ones in Cuba. In this very specific part of this building. Well, in the southwest bottom part of this building, between this area and this area, 10 feet.
Lordy.
Oh, we experienced an LRAD. That was
did.
developed out at the test site. You want to talk about this secret... fucking, what was that? Like a riot that we witnessed?
It was a riot.
Yeah.
It was after what fight was it? Was the Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, it was the Ronda Rousey fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she
in
lost.
Las Vegas, and she lost. And when she lost it, somebody was pissed.
Because we were at does the Texas even
it
still
no longer exists. No,
Yeah.
we were at the Texas Roadhouse.
No, just Texas.
I'm sorry.
Roadhouse is a diner or a restaurant with really good
we
rolls.
were not at the restaurant. We were at the Texas Station House.
That's right, Texas Station, which is no longer a thing.
Right. Anyway, so we're just chilling out, getting ready to go to bed, and started hearing like yelling
it was a
and
riot.
screaming,
gunshots.
Yeah.
And then they came through with the LRADs, which are these big sonic weapons that like
they look like suitcases on the top of a SWAT van.
kind of like suitcases that are like big speakers.
Yeah.
The Hulk likes to throw things at them.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
It hurt when we were in our hotel room.
Yes.
What, 5th, 6th floor, something like that?
We our golden doodle, who is no longer with us, bless up. We had to hold her ears because it was
she was like
freaking
crying.
the fuck
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
It hurt even
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
And they deployed that on people.
on civilians.
Yeah, which is probably another reason why Facebook flagged it and took it down.
Yeah.
And it was not on the news. It was not in the local news. It was nowhere. Didn't exist.
It's the riot that didn't exist that we experienced. That was weird. So, hey, if you were in that riot in Las Vegas after the Ronda Rousey fight, please reach out to the pod and let us know
How
that
you
we're
doing?
not alone.
Well, what was that all about, though?
What the fuck was that about?
You spill the tea. Because we still would like to know.
We still would like to know. So we're waiting.
We really don't have any answers here. It's just like everything else. Like, well, we guess it's a thing.
This is a conjecture podcast.
The closest that we can bring you on the truth that we found is what we've given you.
That's right.
I personally hope that it is the mystical aliens that are of the good variety, and that's why they're leaving us the fuck alone. Just Truman Show watching us sort of shit.
I'm not really comfortable with voyeurs, though.
It's better than the alternative.
Okay.
That they're coming to eat us or whatever.
I hope
War
they
of the
do. We're
Worlds.
full of art. Look, art. May they eat all of the plastic in my testicles. Amen. They can have them.
You were just talking about white people and mayonnaise and
Right.
ranch, so hopefully they like bland.
Kind of wonder if guacamole deserves to be on that list.
I mean, I'm only saying go after the white people because I'm white, so.
Right, but also think about it. Guacamole on the list of
But it's green.
food paste. Paste. It's a paste.
But if we're going that route, so is applesauce and cottage cheese and mashed potatoes and
Oh my God! They also love beef jerky. Like too much. They like way too much beef jerky.
Well, so as always.
So as always, we like to leave you with good vibes, the best vibes, the oh mau mau vibes, the hard to find vibes that will leave the solar system before you're ready for it.
Space traveling pouch vibes.
Yeah, quantum pouch vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd like to remind you that if you get arrested, shut up. Don't say anything.
Nothing. Lawyer,
phone call. That is all. You don't even have to tell me you speak English. Yeah, and just keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And try to stay
elusive. The Elusive History Podcast has been written by Levi Van Scoik. Music by Levi Van Scoik. Produced by Lyndsay Burnett.